Yeah, how's it going today? It's 19th of October, Saturday, and we're gonna be taking a look at the market, what kind of opportunities we can find. We can begin by taking a look at potentially how to receive finances to carry out some of the research work when it comes to 3D printing. From there, we can take a look at France and France projected military spending with perhaps, I believe France already has or aircraft carrier. Perhaps France might be considering to purchase another one, which we can take a look at within the budget. They might have allocated some finances for that, as well as we can touch on sensors and autonomous driving in all vehicles and some of the financial incentives for how small companies to pursue well, some of those markets. But again, let's let's begin. This particular opportunity is live right now. That would be 3D non-scale materials hub for a sustainable future, and that might offer some incentives and all financial benefits to pursue and do research in this particular area. That would apply for funding to create a research hub focused on developing 3D nanoscale the material that supports sustainable future. The hub should cover fundamental discovery route to translation and or manufacturing. You must be research based at the UK Research Organization, eligible for Engineering and Physics Science Research Council, as well as you can apply to receive this status for your organization if it's something you're looking to pursue, as well as they might offer some finances and at some percentage rate, right? Well, anyway, let's progress. Let's take a look at France budget when it comes to military. Uh, Something that was published recently, that really 15 on Tuesday. So let's take a look at France size aircraft carrier frigate order in 2025 spending plan. Well, let's just try to understand it. What would be size and perhaps what kind of uh, aircrafts France might be interested in having? Would that be unpiloted and or piloted, or what would be a size of aircraft? Is something that might be of interest, right? But anyway, that would be Paris, France defense budget next year includes order for a next generation aircraft carrier to replace, there is a name there, as well as a new Bridget Armed Forces Minister. Let's keep names told on a parliamentary hearing on Monday, sketching the outline for a ministry plan in 2025. The defense minister plan to boost spending on ammunition, particularly complex ammunition, lift the space budget and or raise funding for intelligence gathering and or cyber. There's a name, let's keep names told, the Defense Committee on the lower house. Other areas of investment will include research on direct energy weapons, artificial intelligence, and deep sea capabilities. Well, they not necessarily would be discussing what they're actually going to be doing, by the way. But anyway, the French government has proposed to lift 2025 defense budget to 50.5 billion, which is somewhere around 55 billion United States dollars, from 47.2 billion of euros. One of the few departments to see funding increased as Prime Minister, let's give names, attempts to bring the country's budget deficit under control. Just being cautious where they're spending and where they're spending that money, right? So that's a part that most likely a lot of people are interested in. That would be the aircraft carrier order. We mean that start of the program with the major impact. Let's keep name told lawmakers. The minister last year estimated the cost of vessel that will replace existing perhaps nuclear powered carrier in 10 billion range. The country also planned to order another defense and intervention frigate after naval group started sea trials on the first unit in the program earlier this month. France plans to increase armor buying by 27% to 1.9 billion, which purchases include MBDA's Meteor air-to-air missile, Minister's annual Aster air defense interceptors, Scalp cruise missiles, and Exoct anti-ship missiles, as well as heavy torpedoes, according to one of the people. Let's give names right. The budget to the SAMT NG air defense system developed together with Italy will double to $500 million or 500 million, right? So a lot of governments have did the checks and they have realized the inventory of ammunition that they had that will last them maybe 2 weeks or so, right? So, but I believe France knew that all along. Some of those governments knew that without inventory checks. Well, anyway, well, perhaps it doesn't come as a surprise that this particular part will be very important, as well as myself. I will be interested more in if we're going to be looking to invest in research and development, as well as if we're looking to build an one-off high-ticket item, if we're going to be looking to improve what will be next generation of aircraft carriers, with those air carriers would be smaller and more of them with different aircraft would be perhaps way smarter, but most likely France knows what is way more smarter ways and know what to build it, right? Since one of those missiles potentially can take down entire carrier at some point, perhaps having more of them would be more of the or better decision. But anyway, the minister took the 5 European countries buying the Patriot air defense system, which we were taking a look at recently with what's happening in the US with some of those prices being overpriced, and themselves they had to pay a fine, right? That would be RTX, I believe that's the name of the company, who had to pay a fine for overpricing government for some of the services, and the fine was close to $1 billion. Something that we were taking a look at yesterday. So, meaning that perhaps they should consider investing in research and development and building their systems themselves. This is what they mean by that. Same in new generation of SAM-T, which has 360 degrees radar coverage, outperforms its US competitors' first test with the Aster B1 and T missile to distinguish its targets in saturated airspace with multiple objects have been very conclusive. I don't know this particular part. I have my own understanding and my own beliefs about if he's saying not this particular system and he's referring to a very particular system, there's more to it, right? Perhaps what he would like to say and compare apples to oranges, and what I have to say with comparing to some of the systems, where some of the systems would be built to solve very particular problems or perhaps work against particular aircrafts, all those kind of things, right? So he's comparing completely different things, right? Just worth mentioning. Uh, let's skip names just in case it continuing to. There's perhaps a number of two companies, most likely partners and or joint ventures with the tails and OMDAs to make the stamped systems to export success, where the previous generations failed to find many buyers outside of France and Italy. Some of those joint ventures can include a number of governments, and perhaps sometimes can be 4, sometimes can be 5 different governments, right? Where they work on different joint ventures to develop some of those systems, right? So that's the reason why I'm reading and or to trying to understand where is going to be next research and development to develop what kind of systems, which might be of interest, right? We can see that it's going to sell. One of the key elements with the MBDA move towards the war economy with production lines that hold up. To deal with that tension, on the minister said France plans to allocate a third of its defense budget to acquisition and maintenance of equipment, with the budget for larger armament programs other than nuclear rising 16% to 10.6 billion euros. Salaries would account for 27% of the 2025 defense budget, with nuclear deterrent among to 14% of spending. Okay, where is the research and development? It should be way higher. Whatever number is, it should be way higher. But anyway, and since as of now, perhaps France and other partners are spending way too much on purchasing other systems instead of building their own systems. That's where research and development, and from research and development, perhaps sales should come, right. But anyway, the budget for nuclear deterrent will climb 8% next year, which will pay for continuous development of the M51 submarine launched ballistic nuclear missiles and work in SN4H hypersonic missiles expected to enter service in 2030s. He also, let's give names, also mentioned the year started construction of France's third generation of ballistic missile submarine. Oh, okay, so they might be interested in spending some of the research and development in new technologies there. The space budget will increase by 15% to close to 870 million, which is very important, as well as perhaps France might be considering to launch more satellites into space, and that might be a good investment overall long term. So when it comes to connectivity, internet, sensors, and all reconnaissance, all those kind of things. So this particular area should be way, way higher, and perhaps they should be considering how to raise capital from different sources, not necessarily been funded by taxpayers, right? This person's name said militarization of space is unfortunately continuing. Exactly. With projected by the great powers that could endanger security, spending of robots and drones will increase of around 12% to 450 million, which is very important. So perhaps that will be research and development in those particular areas, while the Armed Forces Minister plans to triple the budget for artificial intelligence to 300 million. Okay, so that's very, very important. Perhaps not enough being spent, but again, just one government, potentially just France spending there, right? Where other partners perhaps should consider spending very similar sums, including investment in supercomputers for defense, AI, all those kind of areas, right? Deliveries next year will include 14 Rafale fighter jets and Airbus A400 transport aircrafts and defense intervention frigates, 308 armored vehicles in the Scorpion program, and 21 renovated Lecter main battle tanks, according to Minister. Let's call it Minister. Let's give names, right? France aims to be able to deploy 2 brigades in expeditionary capacity in 2027 and have the ability to deploy Army Corps in 2030, either with the NATO framework or outside of its framework. But anyway, so that will be overall projected programs, as well as I don't know, perhaps this budget do not cover other areas. Perhaps we have left some of those areas, right? For people who are following some of that spending and all some of the partnerships and a lot of programs. Some of those programs can be 10-year programs, right? Which should be very important. More partners and developing some of those capabilities, right? Well, overall, let's progress. Perhaps just to finish on a different note, let's come back to some of those plans, right? And let's take a look at not necessarily just military use, but perhaps from military use, and there's a lot of expenditure, how some of that money might be able to recoup and offer a lot of value in different industries. Uh, since we were taking a look at, and I was recommending to you, France, taking a look at satellites, launching more satellites as well as sensors, and that would be overall connectivity and autonomous plans is something that would be in motion, potentially 11 years or so. The connected autonomous plants that would be roadmap will revolutionize construction safety and all bridge productivity gains of 200 billion if adopted in 2040, right? So if there will be a lot of expenditure in military, which would be very important within the time frame over many years, 10, 20, 30 years, right? Also, Some of that technology and research and development could be used for different purposes, including GPS, so to say. Perhaps Europe has its own version of GPS, which might be more accurate and precise, just centimeters instead of inaccuracies. For example, if there would be more satellites, as well as internet connection, communications, connectivity, 5G, 6G, all these kind of areas, as well as that would be need of people doing some of the work, or people perhaps doing it from a safe distance remotely, and that would be logistics, tracking, digging work, and all as we can see in the picture, right? So perhaps and value that would be able to offer to different industries, right? Since we're coming back to UK, and the UK might be able to capture around 200 billion. So if there would be a lot of investments into military, how later on that could be passed down into different industries, right? Let's close on that. Thanks for watching. See you next one.